Janine, what's your take on this?
Richard, as you know, and many folks near know, my mom was a minister. And she and Daddy, they were really just strong family people. And there were three things that they taught us that even with all the education and all the accomplishments I've made in life, that still seem to be true. One is, they always said, you know, education can change your life. And it didn't matter whether it was someone who was already middle class or impoverished as we grew up. Education can change your life. The second thing, and they were very serious about this, do not go out and embarrass your family name. And they would look at us, you can't embarrass the family. And there was something about not embarrassing the Frisbee family that really kept all of us in check. It wasn't that we didn't want to do wrong sometimes. It was if we do wrong, we could end up in the paper or something could happen that would embarrass the Frisbee family. And the third, which was most important in my family, you've got to believe in someone or something greater than yourself. Because if all you have is yourself to believe in, that's not enough. And so when I look at all of the sense of community and cultural and all of those type things, I just go back to the basics that my parents taught us. It goes with that book that the most important lessons that I learned in life, I learned it in kindergarten. It really is true. We learn it that young. And if we stay on the path and continue to emulate that and pass it on to the next generation, it's amazing how good our community can become.
Thanks, Janine. John, do I get the impression you want to jump in here?
Just to add a little bit in, I just think we look at community pride, culture, unity, and self-esteem. I think we have to ask the question: is that really embedded in who we are? I think those aspects of who we are, it was embedded in the 50s and 60s when we were moving towards civil rights and we were fighting for equality. I think now that we have a Martin Luther King Day, now that we have a Black History Month, I think we've now limited our sense of pride, our sense of unity to a static moment in time, and it's not anymore who we are. I think that the challenge now is to actually deconstruct a moment in time that we seemingly thought that's what we fought for, and that wasn't what we fought for. We fought for African Americans being equal in society every day, 365 days a year, not just a celebration of what we did in the month of February, or a recognition of Dr. King's vision, or the vision of others in the month of January. I think that that sense of pride and self-esteem will come when we learn to make a conscious effort in all of our various structures, home, school, church, wherever, to really level it out and make sure that our contributions are embedded in every discussion. And our curriculum, there should always be discussion of Black literature. And math should always be a discussion of Black mathematicians. In a social studies class, there should always be a conversation about what the Black experience has contributed to the U.S. experience as well as the world experience. I think when we learn to embed it naturally, and it's not a highlight during the school year, or a highlight in our church moments, that I think that sense of pride will organically begin to transform. All of those various venues. I think that the key, not to make it a union, non-union issue, and certainly not to raise the fire that some of our constituents are raising in the community, which I think is counterproductive to the goal of educating kids. If we're truly about kids, then we will not allow an administration or anyone to breed a civil war among public educators who if we truly have the kids' interests at heart. We would not have a civil war within the city of Newark over public versus charter, private, or all of that nonsense, and meanwhile, our kids lose out. I think that whatever data comes from the organization which you're working with or anyone work with, we need to have an intelligent conversation by professionals that if we're calling ourselves professionals, then we should not conduct ourselves as if we're cannibals, and really have a conversation about what the data is saying. Because the reality, and be transparent about the agenda. As I said, we can't drink everyone's Kool-Aid. So clearly we can spend data however we want it to be spent. I can tell you that that phonics works, and then it come with my data. Somebody can tell you whole language work and come with their data. Let's take the data and then let's have an intelligent conversation around what we find, and then from there build a system, public charter, whatever, that ultimately benefits our kids. That's my challenge. That's what I hope everyone out there, from the mayor to those of us in the charter community, to those of us in the traditional public community, to NTU, to NJA, whoever, if we really are about the kids, then let's have an intelligent conversation from the ground up about what's really going to work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. All right, Seal. Seal gets the last comment.
It's not an answer to your question, but a second and a call for understanding or recognizing how urgent what you just said is. I think that we're in the midst of a changing narrative, and that narrative is getting louder and louder. It's a narrative that says money doesn't matter, what you invest doesn't matter, and in fact a narrative that says we put that money in there and it didn't make a difference. It's a narrative that says it doesn't matter what kids bring with them in impoverished communities, what they bring with them into school. It doesn't matter if they're hungry when they get to school, or they have no place to live, or they have a parent who's working 3 jobs, not able to make ends meet. This is a narrative of we're going to provide this minimal structure and you succeed or you don't. I think there's an urgency about the demonstration you're talking about to make sure that people do understand that money does matter, that there has been a success. There's been tremendous success. Yes, there are problems, but there's been tremendous success in Newark. We have to point to that success, and that we can't have this blinder approach. We're just going to do this. We're just going to teach to that test and not understand what children need, what they bring with them to school. If you're familiar with the Abbott versus Burke decision, I think the most critical part of however many there were, 28 decisions, but it was a decision where the court recognized that educational needs are not just what happens in school, but the needs beyond school, and that the school is not solely responsible to fix that, but in order to educate a child, to provide that equal education opportunity, all those issues need to be addressed. And there's a strong narrative that's moving away from that. You know, we'll see at the end of this year, after we have legislative elections, where that narrative goes. It's an urgent and critical time.
Okay, I think we've had a very interesting conversation this morning. I want to thank you for the questions that you posed. They were thoughtful, they were incisive in most instances, and they raised some very important issues. Now, I want you to join me in thanking this distinguished panel, including Josh Henningberg, who never sat up here. I now want to invite Brother Counsel, the publisher, to come forward and close us out. Or Gene, are you going to do that in his stead? Because he's over there having a conversation with somebody.
Thank you so much, Pam. This has just been an amazing morning and afternoon for me. It's also been at times very emotional because some of the stories that you've told and some of the points that you've made have been just absolutely, you know, they just went to my heart. Incredible. Before Janine, we are streaming live on the internet. And we will be playing it once we get the video edited. We'll be playing it. But I want to just thank everybody who was here today for coming out. Adrian and I had a dream that this could happen, thanks to Reverend Howard, Clement Price, and Al Cobby. They said you could do it, and we did. Yes, we did. So we're very thankful. And I just want you all, I have to give a plug for the positive community. Make sure that you get it in your churches. You can also subscribe online, and if you're an advertiser, please consider us. That's how we're going to grow, is through advertising. Look forward to, in June, we're going to be doing a business roundtable. In September, we're going to do a health and safety roundtable. And in November, we're going to have a community town hall meeting. And then in January, Martin Luther King weekend, we're going to have the first Positive Community Awards. So look forward to a really invigorating rest of the year. And we hope that you all enjoyed today. I know I did fabulously. Thank everybody.